My name is Bob Krause. I was born March 17th, 1935, Schreiber. My grandparents were born, my grandmother was born in Port Arthur and moved to Schreiber 4 days later, 5 days later. And my grandfather was born in Hamburg, Germany. I got married on September the 3rd in 1955. Doris. She was serving gas at the gas station and I was buying gas there. 6 children. We have 4 boys and 2 girls. Kim was born March 10th, 1956. Arlene was born on January the 10th, 58. Victoria was June the 17th, 1959. Daniel was January 24th, 62. Robert was January 28th, 69. And Chris was July the 16th, 72. Oh yeah, got an awful gang of them. Arlene has 3 children, grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren. Vicky has 2 grandchildren, and Danny had 3. Robert none. Chris has 2. I'm a locomotive engineer with the railroad. I also was a heavy equipment operator on construction. Oh, I volunteered. The church. I was on the church board for a while. And of course I'm a counselor. And my main time is spent, mostly of my life was on council. But I've been on the Community Care Access Board of Directors. I was on Thunder Bay District Housing Board of Directors. I was the chairman for that for 6 years. And I'm presently on the Board of Health in Thunder Bay, the Thunder Bay District Health Board. Well, I guess when we were a kid, we grew up, it's not a favorite memory, but a bad memory. I grew up during the war, and my father was an immigrant from Germany, and we had an awful time during the war because of our nationality. I had a lot of scraps and stuff like that, you know, and it was really rough. But there was lots of good times in Schreiber. Like we used to go skiing, tobogganing, and stuff like that. My father in the summertime, used to plow gardens with a team of horses, and we used to go to camp a lot with my grandfather. When we were young, we went down with a team of horses, and then later on, when he got a truck, we used to go down on the truck to camp, spend our summers at camp down in what you would call Hydro Bay. We call it Terrace Bay, but you'd call it Hydro Bay. And we had a lot of good memories growing up. Played hockey, baseball, and stuff like that too with the kids. Sports, you know, and spent a lot of time up in the fishing and up on the mountain building shacks every summer. We'd build a shack or 2 every summer up there with a bunch of us kids. Go up there and build ourselves a shack and swimming and living. Walker's Lake, you spent a lot of time in Walker's Lake too. Well, from the horse and buggy days to the jet days, I guess anything in between, we started out, I remember quite clear, we started out with my grandfather having horses, and then Schreiber grocery stores all had horses to deliver groceries, and old Hoppa and Mr. Ackleton, they were what they call dray operators. They run We had horses and used to deliver all around town and worked for the CPR hauling ashes and cinders. Trains would come in, dump the cinders at the passenger train there, and then these old fellas with their horses would take it away and dump it on the cinder pile down in east end of town there. There was a great big cinder pile down there at the east end of Schreiber, where you come into Schreiber, and it was quite high, and they used to dump their cinders there for that come out of the steam engines. Those cinders were all hauled away from there in, I would say, in the early 50s. Then they built the road through Schreiber. They put them on the highway to build that new highway that we've presently got. A lot of cinders went into there, and they pretty near took the whole cinder pile, which you wouldn't do today. Not really. I like to fish. I don't hunt, and I guess being on council is just like a hobby. And we've been on here now since I think first time I ran for council was about 1972, 73, and I've been off and on ever since. I was the mayor for 12 years, and I'm back on council again as a councillor. It's been my life working on the town for people. Well, my grandparents came here in 1885 when the railroad was first being built. Riley's was their name, and my grandmother and my great grandmother and great grandfather, they had, I believe they had 4 boys and two girls, of which my grandmother was a daughter, and they came when the railroad first started, so our family has been here a long time. My father came from Germany, from Bremen, Germany, and like I said before, my grandfather came from Hamburg, Germany, and we have a real history in town, and it's Schreiber is a great town. I just love it, and I just love to help people. That's my thing. If I can help somebody, I will. And I've done so over the years. I've seen people get into a car accident one time, and I drove them to Winnipeg because they had no way of getting back home. So I drove them out to Winnipeg, and I've driven people down east because they couldn't get home. So that's my way. I just like to help people. My aunt Bertha, it was her family that had Duke, the Fraser family from Jackfish, and I guess, you know, they had a plaque for him and everything. And yeah, he used to wander into town from Jackfish along the tracks, and there was some stories where he saved a fella's life along the track, but I don't really recall too much about it. I recall Duke, because he used to lay around the YMCA all the time when we had the YMCA here, and he had the run of the house. Well, like I said, I grew up here. I started working on the railroad in the shops when we had steam engines, and then when I went to Sudbury with the railroad, because I was a machinist apprentice, and that's where I met my wife, and we came back here for my mother and dad's 25th anniversary, and we never went back to Sudbury. And next year, Doris and I will be celebrating our 60th anniversary. No, there was a plane that did crash east of, it was around Struthers in that area. You could see it. The frame was up on the hill beside the track, but we never really seen I never seen the plane crash itself, no. But I recall the plane, the fuselage of the plane laying there up on the side of the hill. Then there was a plane crash, same type of crash at Rossport on the highway. Fella crashed, hit a hydro pole in the fog and got down in there.